I hear God saying, increase your skill set, increase your skill set, increase your skill set. I was just talking with someone about the spirit of poverty and breaking generational cycles and things that we once thought were curses. Jesus bore the curse for us. Jesus became cursed for us so that we wouldn't be cursed. So we're not even dealing with generational curses nowadays. What we're dealing with is generational cycles and patterns. And so God had me to write in my journal that I write in about what I felt like the writing of the journal was about how generational cycles and patterns get passed down from generation to generation indirectly, secondhand. And so I'm going to just explain a little bit about that, then I'm going to get into the main point. So some things like, for instance, poverty. We may think that we're going through poverty because our finances are attacked, but you may not realize that it's some of your skills, your habits, routines, cycles, and patterns. One thing might be a lack of communication. A lack of communication where in a family, they don't communicate well about finances. They don't set a budget together. And then again, they don't teach their children financial literacy right there. So from generation to generation, not only are the person that's already there, the adult, isn't communicating about their finances. They're not educated on their finances. They don't have financial literacy. That's a habit. That's a pattern there. That's something there. They're not communicating, even if they're married, they're not communicating with their spouse on what purchases they're making or coming together to make a budget or even talking with a financial advisor or finding some type of educational tool to understand financial literacy. And so then again, some people also have with the lack of communication or lack of education, financial literacy, they're not teaching their kids how to budget. They're not teaching their kids about money. They're not teaching their children about finances. They have this belief, these are all things contributing to the spirit of poverty. They believe this generational thought pattern of, well, if I had to get it on my own, or if I learned on my own, they can learn on their own. So where this one parent could have taught their child, let me teach them about budgeting, or let me teach them about saving or investing or putting money to the side. I was like, well, they'll get it. One day, eventually people learn. Eventually you'll just get it one day. That's a generational cycle that's been going on in somebody's bloodline for generation to generation. And I'm just going to keep naming some because I feel like this is helpful for a lot of people. I'm the type of person where I like people to keep explaining because I like it to relate to me. I like real world examples. Certain things hit on the head. You might realize it's more than one that you have going on inside of your family bloodline. Another thing is that God had me to write in my journal is different habits. It might be cooking. It might be and this is one thing I think about, even when you'll see this mostly in a lot of people with just anybody. I'm gonna say this. Another thing is, we'll look at people with weight or eating out. So for instance, you were taught, we look at the outer appearance of these people eat out too much. They need to save their money, but we haven't hit the root of it is they value emotion. These are very emotional people. They value emotion over discipline. They lack discipline. They lack focus, and they lack commitment. In order to meet your goals, you need to be disciplined. In order to meet your goals, you need to be focused. In order to meet some of your goals, you need to be committed. And so what I mean by that, some people, they place a high reward system on emotion. What I want to do today. What I want to eat today. Or you go out, you might be one of those impulse spenders where you saw your parents go through that. These are all different things that's been passed down. Oh, I like that outfit. You got $50 in your checking account and you go see a dress that costs $30 and you think, I got $50 and they got a $30 dress. I can buy that. Or you might be somebody where you're like, of course, clothes. Why would I spend my money on clothes if I'm at my last? But here go your last $20, and then you like, oh, I need something to eat for tonight. Let me go pull up at McDonald's and go buy me a $10 meal instead of going to the grocery store and figure out what meal can I make with half a quarter of this amount. Instead, you go get something easy because you're saying, well, McDonald's is supposed to be cheap. Let me just spend my last. So you might not say, oh, I'm going to spend my money on clothes, but you're willing to spend it on food. Or let me take my last $5 or this $5. It's not all of my last $50 or $20, but let me take this to a sweepstakes. So get me a little dollar scratch off card and see what I can do. You was better off tithing that money than to sit up there and try to get a scratch off to see what you're going to win. These are all, and you might have been seeing your granddaddy every day. He might not be spending a majority of his money on the lottery tickets, but each week he going to get him a lottery ticket, a couple of them. These are money habits that's been passed down where you might not even, your parents or in bloodline, the people in your family bloodline that's been going down, this been going in your family bloodline from generation to generations. They didn't teach it to you firsthand. They didn't say, listen, this is how you lack. This is how you stay in poverty. This is how you not steward well. This is how you create a hole in your finances. They didn't say that to you. You just picked up on that. You learned that indirectly and passively. You learned it secondhand. And I think about smoking. Yes, smoking is deadly. They tell you not to smoke, but secondhand smoke is more deadly than firsthand smoke. Firsthand smoke, you know what's the cause of it. You know this is killing you, but you're willing to take the risk. Secondhand smoke, and I think about kids in the car. Secondhand smoke is more deadly than firsthand smoke. They don't have a choice. They're just being around it. They're just being exposed to it. They're just exposed to these bad habits. They're just exposed to these bad cycles. They're just exposed to these detrimental patterns of poverty and it might be other things. It might be unforgiveness. How can you? We think about even with poverty, sometimes I want to talk about emotional things, and I don't want to get off track here, but you eat your emotions. I'll talk about this in other different videos, but you eat your emotions instead of going and dealing with emotions, like go take a walk, go talk to a counselor, go pray about it. You want to eat. It's that emotion, your emotions are going to always take a priority over your finances. So when you're feeling down or you're feeling depressed today, your mind needs some dopamine. You need some dopamine in your body. So what you're going to do, you're going to go eat. It's going to be worth it to you to spend your last on a happy meal. It's going to be worth it to spend your last on a meal. It's going to be worth it to spend your last on getting your nails done. It's going to be worth it to spend your last on a blunt. It's going to be worth it to spend your last on whatever that thing is for you. Somebody might be spending their last on that OnlyFans. They got a porn addiction going on. I don't know what that is for you. Well, this is a big one that a lot of people experience in their family bloodline. It's been passed down for generations. Is a lack of stability and consistency. So to the point, and I'm going to explain this, it goes to the point that it becomes a norm in a lot of people's households. I don't know if you ever experienced this, but one day y'all out eating Olive Garden, Red Lobster, or whatever, Wingstop, wherever life is good. You shopping, you going on this trip, you going on that vacation. Then the next second, your parents' money go down. Then all of a sudden you eating McDonald's. Then you go from McDonald's to eating struggle meals. You go from beef hot dogs to pork hot dogs or something. It went from spaghetti to noodles. And it's this cycle of up and down, like a financial roller coaster, up and down, up and down. Instead of being consistent and your parents or your grandparents. This is how some of your parents grew up and their parents, but this has been passed down in the family bloodline. Instead of consistency, where you set a budget and you said, listen, this is the lifestyle that we live so that we can keep living it forever. Of course, when more money comes, we're going to live better. But where's that consistency? But a lot of people are used to that yo-yo of financial or their finances. One day we up, the next month we down. Now we up, we got more money, now we back down. And so a lot of people are used to instability. When you grew up in that type of environment, you think it's normal to, okay, we got a lot of money. All right, let's go to these nice restaurants. Let's go here, let's go there. Oh, dang, where's my money at? All right, time to cut back. Oh, got paid this week. Like you were taught to live paycheck to paycheck because you were taught, if I got the money and I can afford it, if I have the money, I can't say that we ain't about to go into the deep definition of what you can and can't afford. But if I see the money there and the check go through and the card go through, I guess I can take it home. If I try to go in line and buy it and the card declines, that means I can't get it. And so that's their sense of norm. It's instability. And so there's a lack of consistency and stability in the home. They think that's normal, that financial up and down, that financial yo-yo, that roller coaster. And this gets passed down from generation to generation. You might have been taught to be in a family. Like I said, these patterns could be leading to your own poverty, spirit of poverty. People pleasing. People pleasing, people pleasing, people pleasing. That's the reason why some people even want to live like the Joneses. They care too much about what everybody else think about them. They care so much they're willing to risk their finances. They care so much it's a priority to them to people please how they look to others, that they're willing to, when they know that it will be smarter for them and they'll be a better steward of their finances. So that might be something that you're doing where you're like, I can't go out to eat with these people. I can't go out to eat with these people because if I pay, it's going to make or break my finances. They can go out, they got more money than me. They got triple the income I got. But if I go out and I spend my money, I ain't got no money after that. That's the difference between whether or not I have noodles or not. That's the difference. And so I'm just seeing different family members, or I don't know what type of family that y'all have, but some people have big families where they go out to eat all the time. And the family members, they got money. They done built up their finances. They got it like that, where they can go out to eat. And some people, they might just have, all these families got a bunch of different bad money habits, mismanagement of their funds. It could be all of that. It could be just as much going on in somebody else's finances. But it's like, do you even want to be like them? This is how you stop that generational cycle. You're not cursed anymore because Jesus bore the curse. But this is how you stop the generational cycle. This is how you stop the generational pattern. Is you got to say, when they invite you out to eat, no, I can't go out to eat. Now, if they say they paying or something like that, I mean, that's at your own risk. But other than that, you're like, no, I can't go out. They were like, why? We always got out. Like, you should come out. Like, why you staying in the house? It's like, how you you ain't got to tell them you can't afford to right now. No. That's a smart decision. It don't matter how bad they make you feel. It don't matter how they try to make you feel like you about to miss out. How you stopping and you a party poop. Or come on, let's do this. All these plans. They want to have a cruise this week. They want to have that family vacation. Come on, like, the family don't get together. It's like, babes, what you got going on? I got a budget. I created a budget with God. For me, I got to stick to that budget. I'm going to be focused on it. I'm going to be committed to it. I'm disciplined to it. So I got to say no to these offers, to these invitations that's coming my way. These are distractions. They don't mean to be a distraction, but they are distractions. But here, God, the theme of this message today is to Increase your skill set. Increase your skill set. Increase your skill set. When we take away, when we're trying to get rid of old covenants and agreements that we once made in our bloodline, even not even that it started with us, but it could have been somebody in our bloodline that came into agreement with something, with a lie, with they could have even cursed you, came in with something new even after Jesus died on the cross. It's up to us to get that out of our bloodline. And so it's, you renounce it and denounce it from yourself. You repent for it. You renounce it and denounce it from yourself and your family bloodline. And then you replace it with something. And so there's one thing to take away old patterns or get rid of old patterns and cycles. But sometimes you need to replace it with something. And you need to increase your skill set. If you see that your family has a lack of education, they're financially ignorant, and this isn't just all about finances, but this could be in any area, or for my women out there, for people out there, they didn't teach the children anything. You weren't taught anything. You weren't taught how to clean. You weren't taught how to cook. You weren't taught about relationships. You weren't taught how to express your feelings. You weren't taught or allowed to feel safe. You weren't taught about protection or allowed to feel those things. Those are things where you're going to develop skill sets. To my men out there, to my fellas out there, you weren't taught how to protect your family. You weren't taught how to protect your assets and your family. There's certain skill sets that's going to be new. You're going to increase your skill sets. Don't think no woman about to just run and jump into any man's arms. He got to be proved that he's safe. Don't think a woman is just going to open up to you without her feeling safe first. But in order for you to even know how to make a woman feel safe, you got to have that protective spirit. And if you don't know how to be protective and to protect a woman so she can feel safe, this is going to go into your family. How are you going to even start your family? Moving on. That's just certain things. What you call it? I hear Prince of Peace, your mind. I think about your resources. Some of us, we have so many different resources that we're not using, even speaking to myself. We have so many resources that we overlook. We have so many resources that we overlook. Baby, go get it. Go get that meat. If you're down to your last $50, right? Well, all of a sudden, and here's one thing I want to teach them that. So you know what I'm talking about when I say you got them yo-yo your finances. All of a sudden, and you just got paid again, and then you go down, you spend all that money, you go down. Okay. So you get this paycheck this one time. You get your new paycheck. So you're no longer in the hole. If you're going to go spend on something, just let's say one day you see something on sale, but not clothes. Not the hibachi having a 2-for-1 sale. Get 2 plates for one for the price of one. That might be something a little bit. But let's say you go to the grocery store and all the meat are half price. That's a good purchase. That's a good stewardship of your finances. Now you're like, this meat is very cheap. Let me go look out for sales because now I'm getting it at a cheaper price. Even if I don't eat it today, it might be a day that I need this meat where it's not going to cost me anything. When I'm down to almost my last, as you're building up, I can put this in my freezer instead of waiting until I'm to my last and then struggling to make meals. You can save your money that way. Another thing might be waste. You might be making it's just you, but you make it enough for a family of 4. So you only eat about 1/3 of the meat or whatever food you're gonna eat, and then just let the rest sit in the fridge. Now you're throwing that out. And so I always find this funny because people always complain about People always complain about how much food is tripling or doubling in price, but I'm just like, if you buy food and you cook all of it, but only eat half of it, technically on your own self, you just paid double in a way. If you get what I'm saying, it's like you complain about how the food prices doubled, but then again, you kind of did that in your own way without them overcharging you. If you're going to only eat half of it anyway, that's kind of like you paying full price if you're only going to eat half of it. So once you get your meat, go ahead and split half of it, or only eat what you're going to cook for that meal. Even if you're going to meal prep, only cook enough of what you're going to eat. Don't be wasteful. Learn to freeze food. These are good habits in your skill set. You might need to learn how to cook. It's called YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube. Learn how to cook some of your favorite meals. Learn how to cook easy meals. You might not know how to cook a nice steak on the grill. I love grilled food. I love sushi and tacos. I don't know how to make no sushi, and I'm not really going to attempt to make no sushi. But it's other stuff that I can cook throughout the week. It's certain things I can cook and learn to cook and master my skills at that. So when and plate my food, I get better meals at home sometimes than when I go out. Why? When I learn how to cook my food at home and I go out to different places, I feel very sad and dissatisfied with a lot of my meals. Cause I'm like, they could have cooked this better. Like, I cooked a better meal at home. Or even how you plate your meal. You can even take, like, if you played it restaurant style, or like you went to I don't even know if 5-star restaurants exist. I think it's like 3 stars. It might be 5 stars. But anyway, nicer sit-down restaurants. Like something like you spending $500. Like if you plate your food nice and you set up your table and you set up your living room and you play your ambient music, or you put on your jazz music and you put dim the light a little bit, and you plate your food how you want it, and show up to dinner dressed up. Who say you gotta show up to, dinner in your bonnet and your pajamas? Go sit at your dinner table. Even if you're sitting at a TV dinner table, and that's gonna build the mood. That's gonna make you enjoy eating at home. Who said, like, it's literally people who eat at home all the time. They get dressed up. Like right now, it's somebody in a mansion right now with their kids all eating at a dinner table, dressed up with nice silverware and how they plate the food. That depends on you. Learn a new skill set. Learn a new habit. Create a new cycle. Create a new pattern. Learn to communicate. One thing that's helping me to learn how to communicate, and it's opening the door to a lot of things. I'll do another video on that topic, but talking to God. Literally, like, there's praying and there's talking to God. I got to the point where I would say, God, I hear God say pray. I said, God, I don't want to pray. Because at one point, I felt like, what is finna do? It ain't finna do nothing. Like, I would talk to God just like that. Like, it came to a point where I was like, God, listen, please don't strike me, don't. But I gotta tell you what's up. Like, if we're gonna build a relationship, I gotta be what's up. I gotta tell you what's up. I gotta be for real. And God was like, this is what I want from you. That's what I want. I want for you to communicate with me. How do you think you're going to be able to efficiently communicate with a team of people or a spouse properly? You can't communicate with God. You asking God for a God-ordained spouse, or create God-ordained work teams and things like that that connect you with people, divinely connect you with teams and people to join your team or whatever in these jobs, yet you lack communication skills. You don't even know how to go up to people and introduce yourself. You can't have keep an ongoing conversation with God. You say, okay, God, what do you want me to say today? Or what do you want to say to me? All right, God said what He want to say to you, then all right, peace out. You can't keep the conversation going with God. How you gonna keep the conversation going with a team full of people? Sometimes I'm gonna keep it moving. I'm gonna keep it moving. This video might be longer, but stay with me. Stay with me. Hold on. Generations. Listen, sis. Right now, I ain't gonna say for everybody. I believe that God is gonna restore people's finances, but still, as God is restoring your finances, you might have to set a budget, and you're gonna have to stick to that budget, and you're gonna have to learn to be disciplined. That might be the generational cycle that's going on right now. The generational pattern that's going on now is a lack of discipline. You think it's just you see poverty showing up, you see obesity showing up in your family bloodline, people in jail, people struggling, people going through all this stuff. It could be a spirit and all these different things, but it might be none of y'all have discipline. Everybody lacks discipline. When are you going to sit down and talk to God? When are you willing to fast? That's the one thing I really look at, is whether or not people fast or not, because that tells me whether you lack discipline or not. How like, if God says right now, go on fast, are you going to do it? I know, because when God tells me to go on fast, I was like, something like, I have my set days that I go on fast and set times, but then it might be out of nowhere. I'm just like, okay, God, you know. So I get that, but some people don't fast at all. It's rare. They only do it once a year. They don't even do it once a month. That's a sign you lack discipline. When are you telling your flesh no? When are you edifying and building your spirit? When are you telling your body who's in control? How can you turn the plate? You can't even turn your plate away. You asking God, help me to lose weight, and you can't even turn your plate away for 8 hours, an 8-hour fast, a 12-hour fast once a month. You can't turn your plate away for that time once a month. I know you ain't turning them cookies away. You can't, and doing that fast, it's not just even it's spending time with God. So if you can't get to the point where you spending time with God, I know you ain't hearing God. You say, God, show me this, show me that, show me that. When you spend the time with God. And some stuff you might not just sit down, go on a walk. Just go take a walk. That's a time to spend with God. Every time you try to go take a walk, like one thing I learned, and I'm going to end this video when God tells you to, but a lot of stuff we always try to do with everybody else. You always try to do it with a team. You're scared to be alone, but you're never alone. You got God. You got God. You got God. And one thing I want to give everybody a chance is, if you haven't accepted Jesus Christ into your heart, baby, you can have a whole different life. So I'm just going to give you a chance to accept Jesus Christ into your heart. Don't click off this video. Even if you accepted Jesus Christ to your heart, you can say this thing too, or just agree with it. You don't have to repeat after me, just agree with it. But Father God, Jesus, come into my heart, come into my mind, come into my life, come into my patterns, come into my choices, come into my decisions. Help make me a better me. Come into my heart, renew my mind, renew my heart. Make my flesh weak and my spirit strong. Lead me, guide me. I want to be with you. I want to be divinely connected to you. I want to be in position. I want to be aligned. I'm tired of the way that I've been going. I see. Help me to see it even the more. I know I see it right now, but help me to see even the more, and help me to remember my old lifestyles and know my why, for why I'm coming up out of that, so that I don't return to Egypt. I know, and guys, I'm going to say sometimes we think about Egypt, and I find myself thinking about that too. We think about what God had brought us out of, the good times. Like, for instance, I was going on my walk today, and I was walking, and I smelled weed. And I was sitting there thinking about something stressful. I was like, I remember, I reminiscing. And I said, no, like, I'm delivered, been healed, and all that stuff like that. But I was like, oh no, because I remember my finances went away. I remember when it went bad. I remember the witchcraft. I remember what I saw in the spiritual realm. I remember the stuff I was going through. I remember why I was addicted to that stuff. I remember what led me to it, and that's your Egypt. You got to remember what made you say, I got to leave this. What brought you to it? And why? And what made you say, I gotta leave this right here? What made you pray to God and say, God, take this away from me? Well, you might remember the times that you was partying. Remember the times where me, even Egypt, y'all keeping it on topic. You just got saved. Congratulations. I just wanted to say that because I just moved right into the next point. Remember the times where, it might have been times where you were living in sin, where your money was up. Or God had you in a season where your money was up. But you might be in a season where your money ain't exactly how it was back in the day. But God says, forget about Egypt. You're looking at all the money you had. But then you're not looking at how you was drowning in your finances. You're not looking at as much as you was getting, you was losing. You're not remembering how, yes, you was budgeting and you was having all this money coming to your account. But as much as you was saving, you had to keep spending, and you weren't being reckless with it. Things just kept coming up and coming up and coming up and coming up. Yes, you had men or women. You had a whole line of, you can call this one up, call that one up, call them up. Like, you had entertainment for every weekend and every day of the night, you know. We got to say all that type of entertainment, but you don't remember the sin that you was in, the pregnancy scares, the STD scares. You don't remember the heartaches. You don't remember, baby, you didn't listen. Baby, you don't even know the seeds that you sowed, that you haven't even reaped yet. You might not have been the one with your heart broke. You might have broke the hearts. I had to deal with some of that stuff too. That stuff will catch up with you. You might not did it intentionally. How it happens, how it happened. Learn some new skills. So I'm just gonna repeat this, and I'm here to end this video. So increase your skill set, increase your skill set, increase your skill set. And I want to say, y'all, my name is Tajanae. Y'all have a great day and peace.